Well, welcome to the letter F. And F may have some negative connotations in your mind because all throughout our school days, F always meant failing, a bad mark. However, we want you to think about F as the word focus. Now, the Latin word focus meant hearth or fireplace. In the scientific Latin of the 17th century, the word is used to refer to the point at which rays of light reflected by lens coverage. Now, because rays of sunlight, when directed by a magnifying glass, can produce enough heat to ignite paper, a word meaning fireplace is quite appropriate as a metaphor to describe their convergence point. From this sense of focus have arisen extended senses such as the center of gravity. Typically, when we hear and read about personal success stories where we know focus had to take place, there's very little mention about the preparation and work, the failure and rejection these people received before they became well known and were acknowledged for their achievements. In many ways, we can think of it as an iceberg. We only see 10 to 15% of the ice above the water. 85% is hidden. Think of that 85% hidden as the work and focus that somebody needs to make to perceive and gain excellence. Now, here are some examples of people that went from a weak start to a very strong finish. Albert Einstein, high school dropout and failed child tutor, but later a PhD, prize-winning physicist and Nobel Prize winner. Theodore Roosevelt, a financially broke and failed rancher, later to become governor of New York, a war hero, and president of the United States. Henry Ford's first automobile company was a partnership that went bankrupt in 18 months. The year was 1900. By 1919, his immediate family bought total control of the new Ford Motor Company for $105 million, a princely sum in 1919. The company, as of last year, is now valued at $82 billion. I think it would be appropriate for us to take some time and break out different pieces of focus so that we clearly get a handle on the concept. Number one is simply have great habits. Great habits produce efficiency. They don't waste time. The habits of productivity are numerous. They involve, from the modern day things, the knowledge of your software and the learning curve that you got through that produces a high level of efficiency. That means that you don't have to learn those things when you get into a productivity mode. I think there's a reward there in learning things like that that produce great habits and efficiency. However, you'll find that if you don't do that, then you're going to be wasting a lot of time. I've mentioned it numerous times in this video series, is the knowledge of what you're innately gifted with is incredibly important. Now, I'm not saying that you can't shore up a weakness in some area, but what I am saying is that know your strengths, focus on those areas, and don't try to recreate the wheel with trying to be somebody that you're really not. And so from that standpoint, it takes focus and discipline to do that, because as achievers, we all want to move ahead and learn things. However, if we focus on those strengths and we continue to develop that mental muscle, if you will, it just gets better and more capable and impressive with time. So I would encourage you to find a way to step aside from those extraneous pursuits and go after the things where you know you can build a reputation as a very strong provider. Now, it does beg the question when we encourage you to go after your strengths and not pursue your weaknesses that you understand. There are ways to do this, and one of the main ways to not focus on your weaknesses is to delegate. If you're not a great administrator, but you're a great thinker, creator, planner, then the delegation of the business administration details probably is an absolute necessity for you. There are also ways that you can automate the things that you know take up a lot of time and become very boring on an almost immediate standpoint. There are benchmark marking tools that allow you to checklist off the things that you know you've got to do every week. However, they're not your strength, and it's just plain like pulling fingernails to try and get those things accomplished. Delegate, automate, move forward, work on your strengths. That is point number 3. As a person with a forthright attitude and a willingness to engage, you're going to be approached with a lot of opportunities to do things that might be good. However, they will not contribute to your final mission. You don't have time to give it the quality effort it would take to do a great job, and you prefer that someone else take that opportunity who can do it justice. What we're doing is we're setting boundaries. Our boundaries are inside the area of we know that taking on a given opportunity is going to contribute to your long-term vision and goals. Say no, set boundaries, focus. Another aspect of this focus area, and we've talked about this previously in other sections, is this vision, mission, and reward aspect. So we know that a vision is where you want to go in time. Part of your maturity is understanding that you're not going to achieve these lofty goals immediately, but that vision creates a daily mission statement for you that allows you to say, this component piece is going to contribute to my overall success, the success of my organization, the success of the people that report to me. And then I would say, just from a human nature standpoint, learn how to reward yourself, whether it be a nice meal, a half a day off, or even a piece of chocolate cake. Or a reward where you can recharge your batteries, because you know with that extra energy and focus, you're going to do a more quality job. That's just an important part of the maturity, even though our goal and our personalities scream at us, push, 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 move forward, don't relent. Not bad advice, but not the greatest. Give yourself a little refresh time. You'll do a much better job. Vision, mission, reward. Keep those 3 things in mind as you push forward to gain your objectives. In the same vein of thought, because we know that we tend to remember, and it builds that block of memory in our brain, is that when we fail or we have a negative experience, it tends to stick a little bit better than the successes, because we almost take for granted the successes because that's what we're working so diligently to do. However, keep in mind the law of diminishing return. What I'm talking about is this workaholic ethic that pushes us beyond our mental and physical capacities, not to the point where you're going to the hospital and have 2 weeks of rehab, but to the point where you're just exhausted and you know you're not going to put forth your very best high quality efforts that you expect of yourself. So the law of diminishing return says that at some point, whether it be a 10-hour day, a 12-hour day, a 55 or a 60-hour work week, you know your limits. You know when you have to step back and say, this is not going to work well for me. Keep in mind the law of diminishing returns. From a sales perspective, I like to think of the whole concept of interaction between your company, your client, and yourself as a win, win, win. Now, the win becomes for your company. You gain the contract or the order. There's a reasonable profit and a reasonable demand on the service levels. The customer receives a fair price and great quality and great service and everything that goes with the engagement with your company. And then as a salesperson, there's an appropriate reward. You have not given up your paycheck, so to speak, or your commission because you cut your margins to the point where there's nothing left for you. As an owner, a sales manager, I think it's important that you understand how valuable your outside sales engagement team is in conjunction with marketing, of course, but those folks are on the front line. They are the company image for you, and when they don't get an appropriate reward, things tend to, over a period of time, go downhill. Morale-wise, productivity-wise, effort-wise, everything that's oriented around giving you a great return. So don't forget that. If you're your own manager, owner, that sort of thing, reward yourself. Do have a win. Don't get extravagant. Just make sure you physically acknowledge the fact that somebody did a great job for you and they closed that business. Win, win, win. An additional aspect of focus is the overall confidence that you have that allows you to focus. Now, what are we talking about here? Somebody who's done this before, who has won opportunities, who has been kicked in the shins, so to speak, and has achieved greatness. That sort of thing says, I know that not every opportunity's going to close, but there are going to be a higher than average set of opportunities that do close, and the way that I'm going to do that is have confidence. Confidence in my company, my products, my service, the overall economy, the confidence in your customer that they're going to treat you equitably. That's an important aspect of things. You can't go in weak in the knees, scared you're going to lose every opportunity. It shows like a red flag. So by all means, work on the things that give you confidence, even if it's wearing your best clothing, that best suit, singing that best song, playing a supercharged high energy song that gets your adrenaline up and flowing, and you look at that other person across the table and you say, this is not adversarial, but it's win-win-win. I have confidence in my past and my history and the things that I promote that this will be a great close, a great situation for everybody involved, and that gives you the confidence that you need to move forward. Perhaps no other job in the world presents opportunities to fudge and cut corners just a little bit than being in this great world of sales. What I would tell you over a period of time is that it might gain you a little bit, but the costs are huge, and I certainly don't recommend it. What we're looking at is a strong aspect of integrity. And what does integrity say? It says, I'm the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. I'm the same when nobody else is looking as when everybody else is looking. I have a set of standards that I'm operating by that start with the foundation of truthfulness and go out into every aspect of customer contact. So from that standpoint, integrity becomes a bedrock. Integrity becomes the thing that gets you repeat business and keeps it coming year after year after year because people trust you. Trust in the foundation of future business is your integrity as a sales organization and your product and how you communicate to your customers. That is critical. Don't forget it. It's your benchmark for a long-term success. Be decisive. Everybody wants to meet someone and work with someone that's a leader. Now, that doesn't mean that you're arrogant and pushy. It simply means that there are parameters, there are boundaries, there are places where you're going to have to say, no, we simply can't provide that or do that level of service for the pricing that we quoted previously. You're decisive with your reports, with the people that you report to, with your customers, with operations, and every aspect of the way you do business. Decisiveness is an aspect and a level of trust that helps people move forward with you. If you have people reporting to you and you're not decisive, I guarantee you they will lose morale and productivity. I've seen it happen in the workplace. Nicest people in the world, indecisive, they lost their people. By all means, be decisive, be firm, be fair, and do it with a smile on your face, knowing that you're as equitable as you can possibly be. As we continue to talk about these points, I think you'll see how they're all very much integrated and tied together. So I would encourage you to have a purpose, and that purpose is going to drive you forward. That purpose is going to help you achieve, because without a purpose, then there will essentially be no achievement. Think about it. Have a purpose, have it rehearsed, know it, be able to repeat it, write it down, look at it till it becomes essentially part of you. Be purposeful because you have a purpose statement. The last point I'll mention about being focused is to never stop growing. Nobody has achieved perfection. There's always room for improvement. There are new technical aspects of your job and the way you communicate that you can begin to master. There are people that you can pull into your team. There's ways that you can grow in the depth of your integrity and your purposefulness and the aspect of the depth of the knowledge of your business, your products, and the services that you provide. We all know that curiosity drives some motivation and some energy. From the standpoint of never stop growing, let that be part of your integral being. You want to grow and you want to gain. You want to have win-win-win. And the way you do that is to continue to drive for a higher level of excellence. That level of excellence is going to help you achieve and compete in the marketplace like no other.